last speech of the day or last speech of the conference. I'm excited and I'm super honored that you give me this opportunity to talk with you. As I mentioned earlier, my title of today is The Future of Work is Enjoyable. And there's many sparks from Saku's and Mika's presentations present in this topic. Yet I thought that I would take a little bit more personal view on this. So I'm not coming to you as a developer of people. I'm coming to you as Elisa, who had an epiphany this summer. And I thought that I'd use this opportunity to share it with you because it does indeed relate to the future of work. But before I can get to that, we need to back up a year because the story starts from the summer 2020 when I started to play Heyday. The moment I downloaded Heyday, I was completely and utterly hooked to the game. The micro rewards you get when you harvest the crop and you build stuff and you put them into boxes and ship them away and gain money and points and rewards to buy new things, it was really tempting and luring. And I was spending quite a lot of time playing Heyday during the summer, a little bit less time playing it during the winter, and then I picked it up again last spring. And I've had this quite intense playing time for about 3 to 4 weeks. I'd been playing quite a lot Heyday, and then one Sunday I was sitting in a rocking chair when my spouse came to me and said that, hey, we need to go to meet his sister and her family. And I said to him that, yeah, sure, just give me 4 more minutes so that I can get this ship ready and send it, and then we can go. And he was like, okay, and that was that. But that really stopped me to my tracks. And I was like, wait a second. So what did I just say? Like, we need to wait 4 more minutes so I can ship this ship. Why? So I can get the money and those points from the ship so that I can buy the beehives to make honey products so that I can sell them and get more money, to get the jewelry station to make more products, to put them in the boxes and ship them to get more money, to buy the candle station. And you can kind of see where this is going. I was following the why path for so long that I realized that at the end of the path, there is nothing. It's a mirage. I had this sense that I'll be satisfied and happy when I get the honeycombs or the candle station, but after that comes just another thing to crave for, another thing to go after. And it was already starting to affect my everyday life. I was making my spouse wait for 4 minutes so that I could play more and better. And I want to stress out that there is nothing wrong with playing. Playing is enjoyment, it's leisure, it's fun. It's something that we humans universally need. So playing is not a problem. However, when the playing starts to control me instead of me having fun with the game, that was a path I was not willing to go. So after considering for about 15 to 16 seconds, I deleted the game. And with the deletion came this really weird, rushing sense of overwhelm and emptiness, like, where are my chicken and my sheep, and who's going to take care of them now? And what do I do now when I don't have a ship to fill and send? Like, what now? Initially. But then after a few moments, that kind of dissolved, and instead I got this weird rushing sense of energy and control. Because previously I was addicted to the game, which is designed to keep you addicted to it, so that I always went to it. Now I had all this time and energy at my hands to use for what I will. And you would think I would have learned something from that experience, but I didn't. So this summer, when my spouse had already gone back to work and I had about a week before my work really kicked in, I was sitting in the same rocking chair. And I was thinking like, yeah, I would like to have this nice little leisure game, something clickable, something fun, something not too heavy. And I had seen these advertisements about this merge magic, so I downloaded it and immediately I was hooked again. I was merging these three things to get a better thing, and then I was merging those better things to get an even a little bit better thing, to open new areas, to gain more stuff, to merge, to get a better thing, to open yet another area, to get more stuff, to merge those things. And you can see where this is going. It was going nowhere. I realized in that same rocking chair about 3-4 months later that the same mirage had gotten hold of me again. I had been playing intensely for a week, and I was again sitting on a Sunday in the same rocking chair, had been playing for about 2 hours straight, when I realized that there is nothing at the end. There is no boss level, there is no story to finish, there is nothing there, just more areas to open and things to merge. So again, I deleted it. And with that came the same sense of overwhelm and emptiness, like, what do I do now? Like, what do I click next? And isn't there anything to merge? And you can't really merge like cardboard boxes in the real life to make bigger cardboard boxes. So I was just sitting there with that feeling of emptiness and the sense of overwhelm, and then the sense of energy and control that came afterwards. So I kept on sitting there, and then came the mother of epiphanies. I realized that both of these games, as well as many other games that I've played before, like Candy Crush Saga or Supercell's, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember. Anywho, many of these games, or most of these games, have been designed to like ignite the sense of I'll be happy and satisfied when in us. They all make you think that you'll be happy when you get the honeycombs, or you get to merge those things, or you get the Dark Queen. And then when you actually do get them, you are happy for a second, and then you want something new again. And then I realized that this same kind of mechanism is at play in not just these games, but it's at play in our cultures and societies at large. You can take, for example, wealth. There is a certain amount of money we need, and before that we are actually more miserable, and we do get happier the more money we get. But after a certain point, every single raise that we get only makes us happier for a short time, and then we revert back to the same level of happiness we were before the event. And we kind of want more money to get more stuff, and then we need bigger houses to hold that stuff, and then we need more money to get the bigger house, and then we actually need more money to maintain the bigger house, and then we need more stuff to maintain the bigger house, so we need more money. And you can see where this is going. There is no end point to it. So we keep on wanting more money and more stuff, and we never really stop to think to why and to what extent do we want it. And the same goes, for example, status. We want a CV-worthy job so that we can prove that we're good employees, so that we can get a better project, a better title, more status, more power, so that we can prove that we're worthy, so that we get even bigger title or better title or project or salary or wealth or power. And we don't really stop to think, where will it end? Where will we be happier? And we believe that we'll be happy when we're made the CTO, or when we're made partner, or when we get to build our own business. But every time we achieve a thing, we just revert to back being the same amount of happy we were before that. And third example is audience. So we crave for followers on Twitter, or subscribers for podcasts or YouTube series. We want to tweet more, so more people follow us, and then we have more audience so that we can tweet more to the audience to get more followers. And it doesn't really stop anywhere. And the phenomena I'm describing is called hedonic adaptation. So it's been scientifically proved that we have hedonic adaptation, which means that every time we achieve something, get something, gain something, we are temporarily happier. But a short amount of time later, we will revert back to the same amount of happiness we had before the event, which causes us to run these hedonic treadmills where we crave for things, and then we strive to get those things, and then we actually do get the thing and have a sense of enjoyment, but then we adapt to the thing, so we need to crave yet another thing, and we keep on running in circles round and round again, only ending up back in the same spot. And you can talk to any person with a lot of money or a lot of power or status or a big audience and ask them at which point did they start to feel that they had enough and they didn't crave for anything more and they were content and happy with what they had. And they will tell you that there isn't such a point. Because anytime we achieve something, we start to want something new. That is how human nature works. So sitting in that rocking chair, I had this realization that this is it. Like, if I'm going to be the same person, regardless of what I achieve, regardless of what the status or the project I'm working in is entitling, or regardless of what type of house I live in, what I have right now is what I'll have after that. I might be maybe a bit older, hopefully a bit wiser, and maybe a bit richer or something, but nonetheless, this is it. This me right now, right here, is still gonna be there. And if I'm not enjoying my life now, if I'm not enjoying the work that I do now, there is no guarantee that whatever it is that I'm running after, it would make me enjoy my life any more than I do right now. And some of you might be like, well, she's a little late to the party. Like, are you only now realizing this? And I'm sad to say that, yeah, I only now realized this. And when I was sitting in the rocking chair realizing this, I had the same amount of overwhelm and emptiness that I had when I deleted the games. Like, now what? So if there's no point running after money or running after status or running after audience or running after that next thing, what do I have now? And what do I really kind of want to do? And I have to say, you can do things with money. You can do things with status. You can do things with audience. But more often than not, we're not trying to get those things to do something. We are trying to get those things because they have become means to an end. They have become the value instead of a tool. And that's problematic because it will not bring us any more happiness or satisfaction. So what I'm guessing, what I see in what Mika said and in what Saku said and in all the talks that I've had and discussions with people that I've held, that we are going to see more and more people who want to work sustainable workloads. Because we have finally realized that there is no point of killing yourself with overworking because it doesn't bring you happiness later on. It also means that people start to want to work with interesting and meaningful projects. And by that, I mean that some people want to work for worthy cases and worthy companies. Like, I want to do stuff that will solve a problem I see in the world. But on the other hand, we also see people who want to work for interesting jobs. So they want to problem solve or do coding or designing. And it doesn't have to save the world, but they do have to be interested in the work itself. Because if they are not enjoying the work itself, then why are they doing it when they start running after the money, status, or power? And thirdly, we're going to start to see people feeling content on most days. Like, no amount of Zen will ever make us content on every day. And every single job and every single project and every single cause has parts of it that we are not going to love and like. But we are starting to look for a life that feels content and enjoyable on most days. And that means that people are going to become really hard to lead. Because we all know, if we are parenting and if we are leading, that if you can incentivize people, so if you can bribe and threat, people are easy to lead. If you can incentivize them with money or status or power or audience or whatever it is that they crave for, then you will be able to lead them. But when we start doing things for those things, they are nice bonuses that you get when you do things that actually you enjoy, then it means that people become hard to lure as well. because we are no longer lured by the promises of power, money, status, bigger things and better things and shinier things. Instead, in order to lead and lure this type of people who have came to the realization, who have seen the mirage, we need to be provided with job that is worthy of doing and that is enjoyable to do in the moment, because we have stopped sacrificing our everyday lives in order to be happy when. So to conclude the speech, I will say that future will not make you happy. I don't think that there is anything in the future that will make you particularly more happy than you are right now. But what will make you happy is enjoyable work. So you need to take a look at your work right now and think, is this enjoyable? Am I enjoying doing this work? And if not, then how can I change my everyday life so that my life becomes enjoyable now instead of in the future? Thank you. Juho, you're muted.
Yes, you're muted. That's like, but thanks for the talk. I think that's a great way to end the conference. So what, did Saku or Mika have any specific thoughts related to this?
I always have thoughts.
I was looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's kind of like what you just shared, Elisa. Is I think it's a super important perspective, and I've sort of after seeing my son's godmother being passed away some years ago to unfortunate case of cancer. I sort of realized in the process of losing her that I like to live my life in the manner that when I look into the future, that if I would learn that I wouldn't have more than half a year time to live, I wouldn't, in essence, change anything in my circumstances. And that's been sort of the guiding principle for the last 5 years. And really, of course, it's speculative. What would be the case if I learned, if I would quit my job straight away and all the rest of it, but still, kind of like the certain principle in the decisions I make. It's kind of like life's too short to work for an employer or in a role that you're not happy in and that type of stuff. So that's the thought I had in mind. Thank you, Elisa.
And Mika?
Really kind of it made me really silent to kind of listen to what you were talking about, and it really does click. It's also really interesting now to kind of take what it just kind of have been talking about and then look at, for instance, people at work, and you can clearly see that some people are really happy in doing what they're doing. So they don't really want to continuously climb up that ladder. They are really happy, and they're not after a pay raise because they're happy. They're really kind of satisfied with what they're doing. And then of course you have a lot of other people then who just have one aim, and that is about climbing that ladder. And it's actually interesting that those people who really enjoy what they're doing, that are happy, are also leading a great kind of track, or the kind of work that comes out. It is kind of putting something to the good. It's kind of great stuff that comes out. Whereas when you have someone who just wants to climb up that ladder, then doesn't really kind of think not necessarily that much of what kind of trace they leave. It's a little bit like eating a chocolate bar and just kind of dropping it there, but someone else really kind of thinks of joyfully enjoying that chocolate bar and then making sure that it's kind of disposed correctly as well.
Yeah, that sort of reminds me of this, Peter principle. It roughly states that people are promoted until they're incompetent in the position. So I guess for some people it's better to stay in a position where they're really good at, instead of going to a position that's maybe better paid, but more stressful for them, and maybe it makes them even unhappy because it's not something they can really handle.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that people should want to be raised or getting more salary or aiming for better projects. That's not the point. You can want those things if you care for what you can do in those positions. But if you care about those things as the means of an end in themselves, then it will not make you happier. But like Mika said, that most often we see people who actually enjoy doing what they do. They end up getting a raise because they're good at it, because they actually enjoy and care about the work that they do. And by caring, some people are like, well, that's the world-saving hippie stuff. But I don't mean that everybody wants to or needs to want to save the world. You can if you want to. But if you just want to do your thing that makes you happy every Monday, that you get to open the code editor and actually do the job, then that's good. That's something we should aim at. Then everything else is a byproduct.
Yeah, and I think it's somehow what you just were discussing is related to this concept of like lifestyle. Like how do you live your life? Where do you live your life? When do you wake up? When do you start working? When do you stop working? I changed my life like 180 degrees this year. I mean, I bought a house. I moved to Finnish countryside. And now I'm back into this sort of mode where I go and pick the berries and the mushrooms and potatoes and I get fish from the neighbor. It's enjoyable for me. I mean, that's why I did the whole move in the first place. Because I found that the city lifestyle is not so much for me, but I like this countryside stuff because I was born here anyway. So I guess you just have to find your place where you feel comfortable.
Exactly. And we are so super lucky within the IT sector that we actually do get to mold our jobs to fit our requirements and needs and desires. Like, when do you work? Where do you work? What do you work? Like, all that you get to choose. So take good care of that, like exploit that.
Yeah, it's also like what's work? I mean, one definition is that work is something you do to get paid for something you don't enjoy. But I think that's not a very good definition, because if you can do something you enjoy and maybe you can live out of it, that's something maybe that you should do. So it's sort of worth thinking about what's a good definition for work anyway.
It's a good question.
Yeah, so there's a good comment. One reason I'm an advocate for remote work is it enables us to find more ways of working and ways of living that make us the happiest. So what do you think of this trend of remote?
If I comment quickly, I think that remote work, it can make a massive difference, especially if there's a commute of whatever, 45 minutes or 60 minutes. Just today I was discussing with one talented person, you know, who would have a commute of 60 minutes to the new potential new workplace, and it was clear for him that he's very interested in the role, but he's not keen on working on site more than roughly a day per week. And I think it very much makes sense. Then at the other end, there's people like myself who just happen to join a company with an office 600 meters from my home. So I'm more than happy to work at the office because I get to go away from my home and do the stuff at the office. So I think there's a question of the remote trend and the COVID era sort of giving us more and more flexibility to make decisions kind of like that, then suit our lifestyle. And I think, you know, if the current employer, I think, you know, with good discussions, the current employer will find a way, but if not, there will be others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with Saku and also with Juhis. But I just one thing I want to nitpick about the word happiest. Happiness is a fleeting emotion. We can't be happy more than a short while at the time. So I would try to aim at being content, like when Juho goes get some berries, you're happy for a moment, and then you're content that they are in your freezer.
Exactly, yeah. But it's like when you do that all the time, I mean, now I get even too many berries and everything, so I'm really happy. Yeah.
Quickly getting back to this remote work part, I think that the actual part that is important is that the employee or the people working are having their own kind of call for making the decision if they want to be at the office or if they want to be remote. Eventually, as Saku mentioned, it's about saving time. It's really nonsense if you have to burn 3-4 hours a day commuting to work. It's sad to lose so much of your lifetime just in sitting in a bus or in a train or somewhere. On the other side, I mean, I just came to the office today to have this call without the kids attached to my legs or jumping in the background, and I had a really nice cycle through Helsinki Central Forest. So there is really the benefit of coming to work as well. So you can convert the commute to kind of a little bit of a physical activity, for instance. But it's about having kind of your own control. And I think to make these decisions at work, where you are working, what you're working with, how you are, what time you're starting, and so on. It's exactly this small control that eventually is also leading to happiness.
Yeah, and related to remote work, I think these days, at least for me, it's somehow important that I have my own workplace at my home. So I have a specific place where I go to work.
Yeah.
And so it's you don't want to mix work with play. It feels like something to consider for remote working.
Yeah, I want to add to that as I'm a people person, I want to also advocate the discussion, like Mika said, that there should be time when you do get together because there is value in bringing people together. Also to do specific job like workshopping or doing things together, but to just sort of discuss and chat and mingle and socialize to some extent. Some people need more of that than others, but like I wouldn't go full remote. I would have places for people to come together because there's value in that as well.
Yeah, working remote is a little bit, sorry, Saku, working remote is a little bit too efficient in that sense that you don't really go that way, that you're actually using half an hour or even an hour in the morning, having a coffee with your colleagues, talking about stuff. And that stuff may include work-related topics or maybe something completely different. But that stuff may empty your brain kind of to start from a fresh mind again. It's really that makes work like a joy. And that's really difficult to replicate in this remote work setup. We have tried all kind of tools or artificial ways to force people to having a coffee, and it's not easy. Some people are kind of in it quite easily, and with them you can set up some routine to have a coffee and kind of a video chat. But other people are really just, it's easier at the office where you see someone next to you. Okay, they're just kind of having a small break. Hey, let's go have a coffee, and that coffee leads to a really wonderful discussion. I'm missing that. I'm missing that in this remote setup.
I was only going to come up with a poor joke on saying that let's party sign behind you, Mika, kind of like suggests that you're not going to leave that soon.
No, that's actually always here. It's I've just had to find a niche at the office where I'm sure that I'm not disturbing other people.